start today's program, and we would invite Mr. Emmanuel Alote to give us the opening prayer. Let's welcome him with a round of applause, please.
Shall we rise for a prayer? Shall we pray? Closing our eyes. Faithful Father, we want to thank you so much for the opportunity and privilege to gather together like this. We commit this opening ceremony into your hands. That, Lord, you will stir the affairs of this gathering, that we will do all to your glory. We pray for spirit of unity. We pray for the grace to carry out whatever has been outlined in the itinerary for today. We pray that you will lead us and let all be done to your glory. We thank you so much for answered prayers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Let's give it up for Mr. Alote. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope to stick to our time. Make sure we utilize the time as much as possible. And so we are starting in earnest for our colleagues, those joining us via Zoom and those who are on their way here to join us. Today's program promises to be brief but very impactful. We would be talking about the activities for the year, the theme for this year, that is development, administration, the instruments for achieving sustainable growth. We will be taking exposition on the theme for the year. We would look at the various activities. We will listen to a presentation on a topic which is usually not spoken about because it concerns death, but very important, preparation of will. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't waste much of your time. Some few housekeeping. In case you want to use the restroom, is on your left hand side. You can either use the back exit or there is an exit here on the left side. I would want to introduce members of the high table. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to be joined by some board members and distinguished members of the Ciamc. At the far right of the high table is Mrs. Accra Bonsu, who is a board member of the Ciamc, a director of finance at the Adenta Municipal Assembly, a financial management expert, and a chartered accountant. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mrs. Accra Bonsu. I would skip the one sitting next to Mrs. Owu and go to the chief executive of Ciamc, our own and one and only Mr. Samuel Mausi Asafo. Let's see Mr. Mausi. Now, next to Mr. Mausi is the deputy registrar, Mrs. Hannah Kofi. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I would invite the deputy registrar to welcome us officially to today's opening of the professional year. Let's give it up for Mrs. Hannah Kofi.
Members of the Board of Trustees here present, board committee members here present, branch executives, distinguished fellows and members, the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees and management of the Chartered Institute of Administrators and Management Consultants, I warmly welcome you to the opening of the 22nd professional year of the Institute. I commend you for sacrificing your time to be here this morning from far and near as committed members to usher in a new professional year. We give thanks to our Creator for taking us through the year 2022 safely. The professional year marks the formal opening of the Institute's activities. Members from all over the country come together to be briefed and energized for the programs and activities planned for the year. today's section will witness the exposition on the theme for the year, the outline of program of activities for 2023, and an education on a topical issue which is of much relevance to us. It is my humble appeal that we pay attention and participate actively as we go through the sections. May I take this opportunity to welcome members from our various branches who are present. We have Tamale branch. Shall we show our hand, those from Tamale? And then Wa and Kumasi branch, Sunyani branch, Takrade branch, Cape Coast branch. You're welcome. Accra branch, Ho branch, Somenya, Koforidia, and Winneba. Our online participants, we welcome you all. We are privileged to have one of our board members and president of the Tamale branch in the person of Mr. Bernard Alando to chair the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the 2023 professional year opening. Relax and enjoy the rest of the program. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it better for Mrs. Hannah Kofi. Now, as Madam Hannah rightfully indicated, we are privileged to have one of our board members and the president of the Tamale branch to chair today's occasion. Mr. Bernard Alando is an assistant registrar at the University for Development Studies, UDS, with scheduled responsibilities as the administrative coordinator for the West African Center for Water, Irrigation and Sustainable Agriculture, WISA. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly help me welcome our chairman for this morning's occasion, Mr. Bernard Alando, to give us his acceptance remarks. Let's do it better for him, please. We can do better, please.
Good morning. Good morning. Distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, the Chief Executive Officer of CIAMC, distinguished fellows, members, associates, licentiates, and affiliates of the Institute, special guest, lawyer Mavis Kwanu, who is a lecturer at UPSA, all invited guests seated here, our friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored and privileged to be called to chair this important function, the opening of the 2023 professional year of the Chartered Institute of Administrators and Management Consultants. I wish to express my profound gratitude to the Almighty God for making this day a reality and for making it possible for us to be part of this milestone event. I believe our presence here this morning is a proof of our determination to consolidate the achievements of the past and work collectively towards a better future. Our institute has gone through a number of transformations, but the ultimate goal has remained building a family of professionals and of excellence. I am confident that, Mr. CEO, I wish to accept to chair this very important function. Thank you very much, and I crave your indulgence to support the high table to steer the affairs of this function to a successful end. Thank you very much.
Mr. Alando for accepting to chair today's function. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we would want to do some few acknowledgements, but as and when they join us, we have some of the board members joining us via Zoom, some joining us via YouTube and Facebook on TV UCC. At this point, I would invite the Chief Executive of Ciamc in the person of Mr. Samuel Malsi Asafo to give us the exposition on the theme for the year, that is development administration, the instruments for achieving sustainable growth. Ladies and gentlemen, help me with a huge round of applause to welcome Mr. Samuel Malsi Asafo.
Thank you so very much. Good morning once again. Mr. Chairman, board members here present, and those online, fellow members, teams has remained a very central part of our programs anytime the year begins. Hello. Each year we hello. Sorry, we have some small technical hitch. Hello. It's okay. Can you hear now? Right. Okay. So each year we start by identifying a theme which guides all we do throughout the year. And the purpose is to ensure that our programs are unified so that events that we organize will have objectives that are set in line with the theme. And this is supposed to guide the operations right from the board level through the branches and all other programs that we organize. Now, in certain themes, we always aim at ensuring that our brand influences the direction that we choose. And as you are aware, our central brand is the Chartered Administrator, and then the Hello. All right. Now, CMC's operations, as we all agree, and we want to re-emphasize anytime we are together, is skewed towards practical practice. And that is the reason why we enjoy the slogan that it is not just about certificates, but skills acquisition. So any team that we pick for a year is meant to improve further on our skill acquisition and practice. We are a professional body mandated to further the course and study of administration and management consultancy practice. And that has been our main identity. It means that whatever team we pick should reinforce our identity as exceptional practitioners within that area of administration and management consultancy. Our symbol of authority and identity remains very strong anytime we are picking a team. The Chartered Professional Administrator symbol, and then the Chartered Management Consultant symbol. So when we see you colorfully displaying it, then it is a reminder to the public that these are people who have gone through the practically oriented program and therefore are people of substance when it comes to the field of practice. Enhancing visibility, it's important because without visibility, we lose the attention or remembrance. We cannot be captured in anybody's mind. And therefore, everything we want to do is meant to ensure that our visibility remains strong and improved further. And it is aligned again with our CMC and our CHPA. Yeah. Now, what constitutes our two major brands? That's the Chartered Professional Administrator and then the Chartered Management Consultant, of which on such occasions and whenever we meet as a family, we should continuously remind ourselves. We said the Chartered Professional Administrator is a managerial leader, acknowledging that I may be a manager but not a leader. So also I may be a leader but not a manager. But the Chartered Professional Administrator is a managerial leader. It's a combination of the two. So in our practice, in our speech, in our behavior, we are expected to depict these two characters. As a manager, we are ready to ensure higher productivity. And as leader, we use our soft skills to achieve group maintenance, strengthen our groups. And this is what our teams each year are supposed to help us reinforce. To change. For the Chartered Management Consultant, it is once we come out with that CMC emblem or the pin, we are communicating a level of what? The peak of excellence and credibility. The peak of excellence and credibility. It is also a demonstration of commitment to the consulting field. It is also a proof of proven professional track record of quality delivery. So these things are the marks that we want to exhibit. When people see us with a symbol or people see it on our CVs, etc., we are communicating a track record of quality delivery. We are communicating higher standards. That is to say that when in the performance of my activities, you or any firm you belong to, we want to strive to exhibit the highest standards. So this is what constitutes our brand as professional administrators and then management consultants. The theme for 2023 is development administration, the instrument for achieving sustainable growth and development. That is the theme. Now, why have we chosen this theme? Development administration, one of the authors, Ohimi, says that it describes, it's one of the many perspectives from which scholars understand the underdevelopment of many developing countries and the way we are working towards achieving change. So businesses, some of our businesses are equally underdeveloped, and the strategy by which we employ, to bring change also can be looked at under development administration. And then the wider nation, the public as a whole, the role we play in ensuring that we bring about change can also be looked at within the context of development administration. Now, ordinarily, we will say it involves economic growth, planning economic growth, mobilizing resources, and then allocating them in order to increase national income. But that alone is not enough. It is essentially a concept which is aimed at, which is action-oriented, and result-oriented. So we are talking about a team which is supposed to direct us, guide us, so that for the year 2023, in our practice as chartered administrators, in our practice as chartered management consultants, our vision, our approach is what? Action-oriented, result-oriented, and not just the traditional administration. Now, it is development administration can be seen as an action-oriented and goal-oriented. It is an innovative administration that requires new skills, new ideas, and involving a lot of experimentation. One of our programs, which typically we call the Management Challenge, if you agree with me, it is to introduce new skills, innovation, new approach at handling things. So when we pick a team for the year, it is aimed at reinforcing our quest to have our practice being result-oriented. It also emphasizes group performance and intergroup collaboration. So yes, despite the odds, despite online interpretation, we still meet as a group, and we believe in networking. So our team is also meant to re-emphasize teamwork. So we should avoid isolating ourselves. In consultancy, in administration practice, we should be able to identify each other and communicate and work as a group. In contemporary time, we will say that individuals are continuously changing as the structures are shaped and reshaped according to goal requirements. Gone were the days where the administrator was always seen as people who write reports, who write memos, take minutes, among others. The contemporary administrator is beyond just that of writing memos, minutes, etc. So our duties are changing, and we require new skills, new understanding, a wider approach to administration, and our teams are targeted, are aimed at helping us achieve those things. It also involves employing of trained manpower and improving existing staff. So as administrators, the aim is also that each year, or for 2023, we are not only going to improve ourselves, but we are also working towards improving other staffs. All right. Now, it involves the use of sophisticated aids in decision making. The teams are also supposed to help us, equip us, so that in our decision making process, it ceases to, oh, this is the way we did it yesterday. This is the way we've been doing it for the last 10 years. But the decision making must change to reflect the situation and also the environmental requirements at that time. So it means that we can no more rely on just the repetitive skills, but we are moving beyond that into more sophisticated aids in our decision-making problem, using facts, evidence, law, and other things. So it emphasizes problem solving. Development, which we're talking about, development administration. Here we want to look at development in the context of, whereas typically, or economists mostly associate development with growth of gross national product, a rise in personal incomes, industrialization, modernization, etc. The concept of development administration, which we wish to associate with, is about improving on the well-being of our working environment and our nation as a whole. And CERN 2000, he sees it as the concept of administration which is directed towards removing sources of unfreedom, so removing of poverty, removing of tyranny, removing of poor economic opportunities, removing of systematic social deprivation, removal of what? Or neglect of facilities. So this is the context. We are moving from just the growth in GDP or growth in our personal income to the point where the team is directed us to think as professionals wherever we find ourselves towards eradication of injustice, poverty, freedom, among others. In the broader sense, Whitney views development administration as the process of guiding an organization towards the achievement of progressive political, economic, and social objectives that are authoritatively determined, purposely planned to ensure that there is a change that will bring about ultimate freedom. Freedom in terms of access to opportunities, access to decision making within the work environment, among others. Okay. Development administration, therefore, in this case, will define it as an instrument for defining, consolidating, and implementing organizational goals for growth. Instrument for defining, consolidating, and implementing. At the organizational level, we'll talk about goals for growth. At the national level, we'll talk about goals for development. Talk about goals for development. So the team is preparing us both at the workplace and also in terms of our appreciation of national good. So development administration is concerned with the plans we put in place, the policies we defined, the programs we put in place, and then the projects that we execute to ensure that our workplace or at the national level, things work to bring about the type of development that we're talking about. What it means is that it aims at achieving socio-economical goals through the talents and expertise of administrators. So this is where we come in. Administrators play the critical role in the planning, the policy formulation, the program design, the project execution, etc. And therefore, the theme is also emphasizing the type of skills and talents that we need so as to be able to play those roles effectively as administrators or bureaucrats. And I like Rick's definition of development administration. He says it is the efforts, and I wish we'll carry this. He said the efforts to carry out programs designed to change the physical environment, to change the human factor, to change the cultural environment. So this year, our goal is that wherever we find ourselves, we want to work towards changing the physical environment, changing the human factor for the best, changing the cultural, our way of doing things, including our time of starting programs, our time of being present, etc., etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, in that vein, then RICS, one of the authorities in development administration, it's saying that apart from the planning, organizing, coordinating, staffing efforts common with administration, the new dimension of development administration emphasizes on information, inspiration, interjection, and integration. Information is key. So during the year, a lot of things we are going to share or our contribution or our ability to be visible within our organizational setup as professional administrators will also be informed by the extent to which we are informed about things. The amount of information that you have. Amount of information that you have. Our ability to inspire the system to bring about success, goal achievement will be a test. Our ability to inspire the system. Our ability to interject, not to wait until, so I'll say to interrupt proceedings that are not productive, and not to wait until at the end of the year appraisal stage before we correct it. All right? And of course, to work as a group. RICS looks at development administration from two sides. And here he talks about development of administration and development for and administration for development. Development of administration and administration for development. Now at this stage, I want to put it, is there any difference? Does it make, what is development of administration and what is administration for development? I want us to contribute. As I approach the end, I want us to contribute. What is development of administration from the discussion, or what do you think? And what is administration for development? Yes, my brother.
Although I wasn't here at the beginning, but I think looking at what it said, development, administration for development and development administration. Developing administration means all the structures that it takes to make sure that an administrator functions effectively will be development for administration. Okay. Administration for development means the administrator would have structured himself in such a way that he puts his activity to bring about development in the society and in the sector he's working.
Okay. Thank you so much. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's give him a clap. Yes, any other? Okay. Thank you very much. Exactly so. So, development of administration, it means we want to, if you look at our programs, they are aimed at expanding the understanding, the approach, the context and content of what? Administration. So that as the pillar of organizational growth, we can fit anywhere, we can manage anywhere, we can manage any situation. And for that to happen, it means that we must see administration from a wider angle in terms of knowledge, skills, and behavior. And those skills, knowledge, and behavior should now be used to transform the physical, transform the human, transform the cultural environment. And that is the target of this team. This is relevant but has its associated struggles. Those of our colleagues from the public sector always during lectures or interactions here will always remind you of how do we manage it in the midst of the struggle of power between the elected representatives and then we the technocrats. Of course, which means the skill and knowledge must include how to manage the representatives. So throughout the year, our programs will be bringing experts that will be helping us, reminding us again of the tools that we need so that we can make that impact at the organizational level and at the national level. Ladies and gentlemen, if development administration is the way a country's government acts to fulfill its role in achieving development, then the question we may care to ask would include, what is the role of the professional administrator or professional bureaucrats? Who are the stakeholders and what are their roles? What measure of integration do we need to succeed and to reduce or eliminate frustration? Ciamc, of course, is championing the development of administration. Ciamc has brought a new dimension to what administration is about. Ciamc is providing the wider view to administration such that, be it at the private sector or the public sector, we still fit in as professionals. That is what we are doing to equip ourselves. And we are adopting all tools in decision making. So, go ahead. So this year, we are encouraging everybody to benefit from this development administration expertise development, because it will guide whatever we'll be doing, and will encourage us to participate in our CPDs, in all seminars like we are doing today. So let's put it up for ourselves for being part of this program today. It is an important beginning for the year. These are the things for our annual MCPs. These are MCPs held at all centers: Tamale, Koforidua, Accra, Sunyani. We've chosen the topic business and financial recovery. We are all aware of the problems of COVID, the economic situation, etc., how it is affecting businesses. It is a challenge to us as administrators who are serving as CEOs, head of department, VCs, registrars, or whatever the title may be. It is a challenge to us. So we'll bring in experts to educate us on how to recover from the economic challenges so that our businesses do not go bankrupt. Right. Go to the next. So what it means is that from today up to June, every branch must have its MCP. Because just after that, when we get into July, then we'll have our annual Admin Professionals Conference, which is for all administrators. And by then, we expect that every branch would have finished its MCP. Now, the theme for the Admin Conference is legal issues related to administration and management consultancy practice. And we'll be emphasizing, among others, on the human capital administration and then the law. We'll be looking at our decisions within general procurement, within both the public, private, and organization, and how all those things can help us contribute to our recovery efforts. We'll be looking at land-related issues. Everybody today is working hard to acquire a piece of plot, either for the organization or for you or himself. As administrators, how do we ensure that we are well protected in terms of knowledge in dealing with those things, and also serving as advisors within the context of consultants? Right. 2023 is special, very special, because 2023 we have some key targets. Some of the targets include we achieving getting our final charter or advancing beyond the point where anybody will ask you a question whether your institution is chartered or not. And he who much is given, much is expected. So our license revalidation exercise, which for the last 3 years, the last 3 or 4 years, we've not had. This year we're going to have it. And because we are going to present and defend before all the statutory bodies that we have people who are at the peak of excellence, like we said. And therefore, key amongst it is the renewal of your license. Licenses are renewed. So the license revalidation exercise is meant to renew our license. And we have 2 key programs. One for the chartered professional administrator and one for the chartered management consultant. And for the chartered professional, these are going to be 3 days, hopefully, programs where we assemble to go into the nitty-gritties that will reflect in our ability to serve as development administrators and beyond. Now, this is going to be in the form of learning, having fun, among others. Anytime we have a license revalidation, it is not just lecture. The chair will recall the last one we had at the Mole Park. Those of you who know the Mole Park, or if you've heard about it, yes, it was fun. It was learning, fun, and then togetherness. That is the nature of our license revalidation. This year, we're going to have same. So we're going to send into your mails a lot of tourist attraction areas, centers. And you are free, you can be at Bolga and register among the group that want to go to a hotel around Blue Waterfall. So as we have our learning, we'll have time also to tour and fraternize. So there'll be different tour areas and you'll be given time to identify an area. Then we are going to spend 3 days. So I always say that at least start saving some 5,000. It's for fun. So at least start saving some 5,000 somewhere. So that when we move, apart from the official things, wherever we go, you can, but we may visit the Snake City or the Larbanga Mosque, anywhere. So let's prepare ourselves. All right. So also will be for the CHPA. Okay. So the topic we've chosen for the CHPA is technology and modern administration. All right. And that for the consultancy is the environment and sustainability. Okay. Please let him move. You should move. All right. Then the next, after the admin conference, is our graduation and then the joint national MCP. Last year, attendance was excellent. Let's put it up for ourselves. And as we multiply in numbers, we want to ensure that we would participate in this one. This year, we've chosen the theme, Reshaping Education, aligning assessment with curriculum and delivery. From the professional perspective, how can we contribute towards reshaping education? Something which is of national interest. This is the extent to which we want to influence national decision making. All right. So collectively, the target for the 2023 is to strengthen our brand and remain more visible. We want to remain ethically disciplined. We want to improve on our infrastructure and then remain strategic in terms of the development of administration for growth and development. So each one of us must avail himself for the things that our experts will be taking us through. Finally, we will remind ourselves again when we talk about the physical development or infrastructure. Last year at this time, we set this as target for ourselves, for our new office. For our new office. Once we are moving and growing, image-wise, should not be only in terms of the human beings, but also in terms of where we are. If we are going to succeed tomorrow as a regulatory center for professional administrators and management consultants, and big firms will be coming to renew their licenses, then our physical environment must be so. This was our target, to have an office and an auditorium. We have moved. We are at the level. We fixed our burglar proofs. We started final electrical works. And it is because of you. You made it possible. You made it possible. That is just the tip of the iceberg. That is just the tip of the iceberg. So we want to appeal to us 2023 as part of administration for development. Let's pay our annual levies. Let's pay our subscriptions so that we'll be able to finish this before we celebrate the admin conference. It should be ready so that you can come there, have your lectures among others. Go ahead. So ladies and gentlemen, what you have there as the red spots are the two structures. We have more space to develop other commercial and other facilities. So the board want to appeal to members. We want to invite strategic partners. What you see there, the white and then the blacks, are all just space for high-rise buildings. So there's a lot. When we are through with this, we wouldn't have to come here again. We'll be at our center. When you are coming, we have our 500-seater bedroom hotel. Everybody will just move there and sleep, isn't it? So this is the vision, and it is your vision, because it is leadership's vision, and we know we will be able to achieve it. Let's put it up for ourselves. All right. So on that note, we want to say that development administration is our focus for this year 2023, both at the organizational level and at the national level. We want to influence the physical, the human, the environmental, behavioral change within our institutions. And we believe that if we're able to do it, it will make us more visible. And then our brand will be more accepted wherever it is. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your attention.
Please, let's do it better for Mr. Samuel Mausi Asafo. Indeed, that is your vision, our vision, and together CIAMC will move forward. So we have been spoken to about the exposition on the theme for the year. We have been made to understand that it is an action and goal-oriented one. Indeed, we have to take risk if indeed we are supposed to, or we are to encourage change, both in our individual circles, at our workplaces, and at the national level. Mr. Mausi also spoke about the 5 I's, that is information, inspiration, innovation, interjection, and integration. All these comes together for us to be better professional administrators. Ladies and gentlemen, teamwork has been hammered on is so important if we are to succeed as professional administrators. Let's give it up once more for Mr. Samuel Mausi Asafo. At this juncture, we would invite our chairperson for today's occasion, the person of Mr. Bernard Alando, to do the formal opening of the professional year for us. Let's give it up for him as he approaches the podium, please. Let's do his better, please.
Thank you very much. All right. I would like to stand on the protocols already observed much earlier to just go ahead and read the formal declaration of the opening of this year's professional year. So, ladies and gentlemen, our vision is to be a leading institution in Africa, promoting and furthering higher professionalism in the practice of administration and management consultancy through lifelong learning. Indeed, CIMC have always demonstrated it. CIMC programs are designed to, one, raise standards of professional practice in support of better business performance. Provide a development path for individuals and a recognized qualification and award routes which form the foundation for a number of professional qualifications, including the Chartered Professional Administrator, as a CHPA, the Chartered Management Consultancy, that's the CMC Awards. Indeed, when you pursue our programs, this is where you are chartering your path towards attaining. The exposition on the theme delivered by Mr. Mausi, the Chief Executive, has opened the way for us to start this year with a common purpose. Indeed, he has told us the direction that the Institute wants us to look to this year, and that has given us a very common opportunity now to look forward from here. The theme, Development Administration, the instrument for achieving sustainable growth and development, is to guide our thinking and practices. It must reflect in the way we plan, formulate policies, design programs, and implement projects. The Institute, since its establishment, has worked towards the achievement of the following objective, among others: to achieve total national and international recognition for the research and promotion of modern practices of professional administration among related allied institutions, to cooperate with government, higher institutions, professionals, and examining institutions worldwide in developing a coherent system, advanced education and research in professional administration and related discipline, to conduct examinations and other tests to assess skills and knowledge of persons seeking to become members of the Institute, to issue certificates to such members, such professional, to issue certificates and professional licenses to such persons for passing the prescribed academic and professional examination, and to provide for the use of designatory letters by persons granted membership of the Institute and at various levels. So indeed, when you come in, we train you, we certify you, and we associate ourselves with you by issuing you designatory letters to say that yes, we testify what you are capable of doing. The vision of executing development administration must be seen in how we work towards the realization of the removal of major sources of unfreedoms. Some of us at the workplaces, Our offices are a no-go area for even our colleagues. And indeed, that doesn't allow many of our people who we work with to function as they should. Such unfreedoms, we should, going by this year's theme, try to liberate people around us and give them the opportunity to work and work to the best of their ability. Eliminate poverty, tyranny, poor economic opportunities, systematic social deprivation, as well as neglect of relevant facilities. At our workplaces in particular, and for our nation as a whole. So we need to demonstrate this everywhere we act or we perform as CIAMC professionals. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a strategy to widen our awareness creation programs, we shall need your participation to invite colleagues to our programs. We must pay our annual subscriptions, pay development levies, and participate in all continuing professional development programs. Let our sense of discipline and expertise convey the message of who we are and to the public and potential members of what we are and what they stand to benefit if they come to join us. Because of time, I would just say that it is on this note that I officially wish to declare the 2023 professional year duly opened, and may God bless you all here. May God bless CIAMC Ghana, and may God bless our country, Ghana. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for today, Mr. Alando. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we won't waste much time. Mr. Samuel Mausi has told us about the exposition on the theme for the year. At this juncture, we would listen to the outline of programs of activities for 2023, what will be done, at what time, when, and how it will be done. Ladies and gentlemen, to help us with this is Mrs. Hilda Ama with the CIAMC Secretariat. Let's give it up for her.
Good morning once again. I'm here to present to you the activity for 2023. The year began with staff training on performance review on Wednesday 19th to Saturday 21st January 2023. The board and the committees met and approved the following activities of the year. So February is the professional year opening, which is taking place now. Ahead of us, ahead of that, the Module 1 program, Ministry of Foreign Affairs also had theirs in January 5th. And then we have various MCP in various centers. So with the MCP, no, it's not here. MCP programs. We start with the MCP programs. So good. So the theme for this year, as you've already heard, is development administration, the instrument for achieving sustainable growth, and followed by our MCP programs in various centers. So after today's program, we have Accra, which is scheduled for Saturday 18th March 2023. Last year, MC program, we were expecting members from Accra and Somanya, constituting 344 members to attend the MCE program, but then 81 attended, which is rather unfortunate. This year, Accra members has really increased beyond last year's figure. So we're expecting at least 2/3 members to participate, either in person or virtual. With Cape Coast MCP, this year is scheduled for Saturday, 25th March 2023. Last year, Cape Coast, we have 164 members in Cape Coast. Only 57 attended for last year's MCP. Sunyani for this year, we are scheduling, the date for Sunyani MCP is Saturday, 1st April 2023. The number is, as at last year, 96 in Sunyani members, but only 39 members attended last year MCP. You can see that the attendance is not encouraging. Tamale MCP is scheduled for Saturday, 15th April 2023. Whereas it was expected to members to attend MCP, the number for members to attend MCP for last year, 147 members from Tamale, but we had only 34 participating in the last year's MCP. Oh, it's scheduled for Saturday, 6 May. We have so much Koforidia. So OMCP for this year is Saturday, 6 May, and then Koforidia Takrade is Saturday, 3rd June, while Saturday, 24th June 2023. So for this year, members have increased as compared to last year's number of members in the various centers. So we are expecting MC Pro participation should increase at least to 2/3 as compared to last year's participation. So we are encouraging all members in their various centers to fully participate in the this year's MCP. We have workshops for facilitators and examiners, as well as the markers as well, and it's scheduled for Wednesday, 5th and Thursday, 6th April 2023. So the Institute will give details to the examiners, facilitators, in terms of the time and the roles they are supposed to play. We have professional licensing programs in our various centers. For Accra Module 1, we have Thursday 2nd to Sunday 5th February 2023. Saturday we have 18th to Sunday 19th March for Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We also have Saturday 25th to Sunday 26th March, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. These two are going to be done via Zoom. There are those who are outside Ghana. We also have Wednesday 19th to Saturday 21st April 2023. We have Thursday 17th to Sunday 20th August 2023 for Module 1 in Accra. We have Cape Coast Sunday 26th to Wednesday 29th March. Kumasi will be having their Module 1 Thursday 16th to Sunday 19th March. Tamale Friday 28th to Monday 1st May. Navrongo will be having theirs Monday 15th to Thursday 18th May. Sunyani Tuesday 6th to Friday 9th June. And then Koforidua will be having theirs Monday 12th to Thursday 15th June. And then we come to Modo 2. We have Sunyani having theirs Thursday 2nd to Sunday 5th March. Cape Coast will have Modo 2 Monday 22nd to Thursday 25th May. Accra will have theirs on Saturday 27th to Tuesday 3rd May. We have Somanya, Kumasi, Wednesday 21st, and then to Saturday 24th June. Somanya will have theirs Monday 26th to Thursday 29th June, and then Tamale, Monday 2nd to Thursday 5th July 2023. And then we continue with Tvucc and then Koforidua. Tvucc will be having theirs on Monday 2nd to Thursday 5th July. Koforidua Saturday 14th to Tuesday 17th October for Module 2. Then we come to Module 3. Accra will be having theirs 18th to Wednesday 8th to Saturday 11th March. Cape Coast Tuesday 6th to Friday 9th June. Tamale Thursday 24th to Sunday 27th August. Takrade Thursday 19th to Sunday 22nd October. And then Winneba will have their Sunday 13th to Wednesday 16th August 2023 for Module 3. And then we have various defense for our Module 1. Accra June batch, they will have theirs on Sunday 19th March. And then 1 May batch, Wednesday 12th April, October, Accra batch. Saturday 29th April, we have Accra August batch. Sunday 30th April, whole October batch. Saturday 6th May, and then we have Takrade December batch will have their defense for Module 1 on the Saturday 1st July 2023. So with the defense that we have there, if maybe you are in Accra or any other centers there, so far we have the schedule there. If in case you can't join your batch or your center to defend, you can notify the secretariat. Let us know which center you want to defend, then we can arrange for you to go and defend over there. So not compulsory to defend your center. In case you are not available, you can arrange with the secretariat to do that for you. We also have professional consultancy skills development seminar. And these are the schedules for each center. Accra will be having theirs Saturday 5th August. Kumasi Saturday 12th August, Ho, Saturday 2nd September. Takrade will have Saturday 9th September. Koforidua Saturday 16th September. Tamale Saturday 23rd September. Sunyani Saturday 7th October 2023. And then we also have presentations for our management challenge. While we have theirs Tuesday 28th February. And then Takrade Sunday 28th, 26th March, Winneba Saturday 15th April. While we have theirs Friday 5th May, and then Accra February 2023 batch will have theirs Saturday 20th May 2023. So this presentation is the same. If in case you are not able to join your batch or your center to present your management challenge reports, you can arrange with the secretariat as to wherever you want to defend, then it can be arranged for you to present your management challenge reports. So our ADMI Professional Conference and Administrators Excellence Award is scheduled for Tuesday, 25th July, 2023. And then we have our AGM graduation and induction, with the AGM is scheduled for February 24th November 2023. Friday 24th November 2023. And then graduation and induction is Saturday 25th November 2023. So you can please take notes of all these dates. All these dates will be sent to your email. And then if your colleagues who are interested to join our Module 1, Module 2, Module 3 programs, they can as well join in terms of the based on the schedule that will be sent to your email. In case there are changes, the Secretariat will as well communicate to all of you through the email. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Amma. At this juncture, before we take the presentation for today's occasion, we would invite the accountant of the CIMC Secretariat in the person of Samuel Anoba to give us some few remarks on our subscriptions and what we ought to do and all that. Let's give that for Mr. Ba as he approaches the podium. Let's do his better, please. He's the money man.
Thank you, Madam. Mr. Chairman, members of the High Table, please, CIMC members, permit me to talk more on money issues. On our annual subscription, the performance so far from January to yesterday, I'm going to present to you the performance of our annual subscriptions. My name is Samuel Anoba, and I'm the accountant of CIMC. So, the outline is a very brief presentation. So, I want to give the outline for this presentation. We will look at the categories of CIMC members, and then how much each of the categories are to pay in terms of their annual subscription, their MCPE fees, their development levies. And then we will look at the discounts that are available to members who pay at a certain point in time of the year, and also the penalties that come with late payment. And then we will look at the status of payment as at yesterday, 24th February 2023, the status of annual subscription that have been received. And then we'll look at the mode of payment, how payment should be made if you want to make payment to the institute. Okay. So with the categories, we have members who have been designated as fellows. We have full members, we have associates, we have graduates, we have licensees, and then we have affiliate members. And depending on the status you fall, you'll be required to pay an amount as annual subscription, MCP, development levy. So with fellows, fellows are paying 500 cedis annually to renew their membership. And on top of that, because we have 2 MCPs during the year, they will pay 300 cedis each, and that will be 600 cedis. And with the development levy, they will pay 1,500 cedis. So if you are a fellow of the institute, your total bill for the year 2023 is 2,600 Ghana cedis. And if you are a full member, then your annual subscription for the year is 350 cedis. Your MCP will be 600 cedis, and then your development levy will be 1,000 cedis. So your bill for the year will be 1,950 cedis. If you are an associate, then your annual subscription will be 250 cedis, complementing your MCP, and you will pay a development levy of 500 cedis. And that gives you a total bill of 1,350 cedis. If you are an affiliate, a graduate, or a licentiate, then you are paying 200 cedis as your annual subscription. You are exempted from MCP because you're on the program, the professional license program already, and you'll be required to also pay 500 cedis as your development levy. and that gives a total bill for the year to the sum of 700 Ghana cedis. Okay, so let's look at the status. Okay, the discount and penalty available. Once you pay, there was a resolution during the annual general meeting last year, and once you pay from the 1st of January to the end of January, you will enjoy a 20% discount. So, for example, if you are a full member, you're expected to pay 350. And once you pay within 1st to the 31st of January, you will enjoy 20% off, and you pay 280 cedis, of which most members have been able to pay and enjoy that discount. However, if you pay your annual subscription from 1st of April to the end of the year, then you will suffer a penalty of 10% on the amount you're supposed to pay. So, for example, if you're a fellow, your expected annual subscription is 500 cedis. Once you pay on the 1st of April, then you pay additional 10% of the 500, which is 50 cedis, and you pay 550 cedis in all. So we are encouraging members to honor their commitment to the institute in time so that these penalties could be avoided. All right. So we look at the status so far and assess whether it is good or we need to improve. So far, fellows in good standing, per our publication last year, we have 80 fellows, both honorary and then professional fellows. And only 5 so far have paid their annual subscriptions. So we encourage the 75 to make payment, and so that they will not suffer the penalty. Full members in good standing published were 269, and only 54 have paid so far. I know the rest will pay. From here, they'll start paying. And we have about 250 more to make payment. So we could tell whether indeed we are doing well in terms of our payment, and whether as an institute you are supporting us to survive or not. We can tell from the statistics. All right. So let's see the development levy that we've received so far. When we introduced, we've received 17,900 so far. And you could tell from the statistics of those who have even paid their subscription. So we encourage all of us to pay if you have not paid yet. All right. So the mode of payment, we have 2 mode of payment. You can either use pay into our GCB account number, which is displayed, or you can use our merchant ID, which is 050328. So at the comfort of your home, you can take your phone now and then dial *170#. Select option 2, Momo Pay. When you go to Momo Pay, you'll be asked of the merchant ID. Just put in 050328. And then it will lead you to make payments. Always please use your name as reference whenever you are making payment to the institute, so that we could easily allocate that payment to you. Thank you very much for your audience.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ba. Indeed, we are being encouraged, according to Mr. Ba, to pay our subscriptions if you haven't done that. And not Ba, if you've not done that, kindly do so. So together the institutes can grow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to one of the important sessions of today's meeting, which is where we would have a presentation on preparation of will. To help us with this is a solicitor and advocate at the law office of Queen Legal Practitioners Chambers and senior lecturer, University of Professional Studies, Accra. Our resource person is a lawyer. She has been a lawyer for 14 years at the bar. She has worked as a state attorney in prosecution division with the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General. She has served also as a magistrate in many district courts in Ghana. Presently, she's into legal consultancy and general legal practice as the head of the law office of Kwenu Legal Practitioners, Sakaman. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, she is a legal academic with the UPSA Law School and Wisconsin International University College Law Faculty, and a facilitator with CIMC. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, kindly help me welcome Ms. Mavis Ikra Enyema Kwenu. Please let's keep the applause flowing as she approaches the podium, please.
Good morning. Thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. I've met some of you before, and I'm glad to be here this morning to take you through some basic knowledge about wills in Ghana, or about how to make a will in Ghana. With the permission of all those seated at the high table, I proceed with my presentation this morning. Wills is a subject everybody is interested, not so? Can I get the feedback? Oh, certainly. It's very important. As we always take our time to celebrate important events in our lives, particularly the birth of a child, marriages, and funerals. Whilst we are alive, there's every need for everyone to think of that time when they'll have to say goodbye to this world, okay? By way of making a will. I have a slide. So whilst I'm trying to talk about some matter with respect to the subject, I believe they're also working on projecting the slides which I prepared for you, all right? It's very important that as we prepare for other events in our lifetime, we should also think about that event which everybody here someday would experience. Death goes with what? Wills. For that reason, when we talk about wills, a lot of people get scared. But it is something everybody needs to think about. And when we think about wills, what comes to our mind generally has to do with what? Property. Property. Somebody will say, but me, what do I have? What do I have? It doesn't even concern me. When I put down my will today, it means I'm calling death to come and carry me away. No. It is a very important subject. And in our part of the world, Africa and even Ghana, we love property. Not so? We love property. We love to make properties. Whether we have children or we don't, we always want to have or acquire properties, particularly immovable properties, like a house, a vehicle, and so on. So as a legal person, in preparing for this lecture, I looked solely at the law that regulates the issues of will. That's that we have a Wills Act in Ghana. It gives us all the things we need to know with respect to this subject. And in my slide, I took my time to share with you certain basic knowledge about the subject, okay? So generally, when we talk about a will, it has to do with what? It is about an individual's intention in respect of how he or she wants his estate or his property, whether movables or immovables, to be shared, to be distributed when they say goodbye to the world. Will becomes what? Effective upon the death of the one who made the will. And in law, we call the person who makes the will or who leaves behind a will the testator. You see that? So sometimes you'd hear that somebody died testate or somebody died intestate. Somebody died testate and somebody died intestate. When we say somebody died testate, it means the person what? Left behind a will. When we talk about intestacy, or somebody dying what? Intestate, it means the person died without leaving behind a will. And in all of those instances, sometimes, whether testate death or intestacy, sometimes they are what? Disputes or conflicts, all because of what? Property. All because of property, or all because some expectations were not met. You should visit the reading room in the High Court, the court complex, where wills are normally read, to observe what happens on a daily basis when wills are read. You'll be surprised. People, different expressions. People in tears, people coming out smiling, and people even cursing the person who is dead. Oh yes. There have been occasions when the wills of particularly husbands have been read and wives have been disappointed, and vice versa. Where husbands have, for some reasons, given all that they died possessed of to their concubines, or to even strangers or best friends, leaving behind their close or immediate family members. It happens all the time. So as we're sharing this today, I believe my brothers, my fathers, and our husbands are listening. It is good that even when we leave this world, those who are close to us would at least smile for the little things they can also get from the will. But sometimes the issue of will leaves pain in the hearts of immediate and even extended family members at the reading of the will. In fact, I'll share with you, my father is a wonderful man. He was a chief, he's dead. He reduced into writing. When he was done, he made sure he gave copies of the said will to his first child. That was my elder brother. He gave copy of the, in fact, the issue of will is supposed to be what? A secret. A secret. But in the case of my dad, after he did the will himself, he gave a copy to my elder brother, his first child. He is in abroad, in the US. So I thought probably, because that is why he should have it. Then he told me he had given a copy to his head of family in the village. In fact, he was a chief in one village and we come from another place. So for the heads of family in all of those two villages, they also had a copy. So whilst he was telling me that, I thought, as for me, I don't need to see. I wasn't even bothered anyway. The same man in his lifetime had already given out to every child what he wanted to give. So what is left? Nothing. You see that? Then at the point he said, he gave me a copy. Miss Nana, this is a living will. Everything has been made bare. So what next? You see that? We didn't even care when he died because everybody knew it. And when it was read, we didn't even bother to also go to the court. It was read at the family house. Everybody knew it. And it was not just about how his estate should be shared. I want to go to the outline. Let's go to the first page. It wasn't just about how some properties should be shared, but how he desired the family unity to continue. You see that? With an instruction also on how, upon his death, his funeral should be carried out in simplicity, which we did. So this is just about an introduction to warm you into the subject. Now if I may ask again, respectfully, how many of you have mastered the courage to own a will or to make one? Can I see my hands? Wonderful. Be bold enough. Come on, let's go. One. We have two. At least I'm happy we have one person or even two in the house. It is good. So let's think about it. There have also been times as a lawyer when, although the people, the testators left behind the will, there are still what? Conflicts. There are issues with the will. It makes no sense because of the words that were used in preparing the will. Ambiguities, vagueness, meaningless provisions. I'll share with you one such example before I follow what I've prepared for you. It's still not been resolved. It's a big problem. Between a husband and a wife, they set up, in fact, they were all working in the bank, one big bank. senior management position. The couples loved each other so well. They took me even as an adopted daughter. They used to share some of their privacy with me. And the man, the husband, before his second marriage, had 2 other children by another woman who had already earlier passed on. But in his second marriage with his surviving spouse, there was no child, no children at all. But it was during his marriage with the second wife that they acquired several other properties, including what? A basic school, preschool, primary school, and even a secondary school. Before the man died, at one visit to their school, they shared so much with me, including the fact that the idea to even start that school was conceived by his wife. That wife had no child by that man. They told me together in their lifetime that the idea to even start a school was the idea of his wife. That she even took all her retirement benefit from the said bank and pumped it into the building, everything about the school. She put her all in there. Same with the man. So you could see that it was a joint property, but was registered as sole. Africa, when you marry, sometimes even when your money is in, it is the man that is what? The head of family. So in this example that I'm sharing with you, it was the man whose names appeared on the documents of the school as a sole. He registered even the business of the school as sole proprietor. I cannot really tell you every detail, but the short of it is that there was a will. The man died tested, leaving behind a will. And in the said will, if I didn't bring a copy, but I can share with you some of the provisions, it's very, very confusing will. In the said will, he had written in the very first provision with respect to his wishes, his death wishes. It says, I give the whole school to my surviving spouse, Madam So-so and so, unconditionally. It makes sense, not so? I give the entire school, even my personal belongings, everything I die possessed of, to my surviving spouse, with her name coming. Then it goes on, the second paragraph, that my surviving spouse, after my death, should convert the status from sole proprietorship to what? A corporate entity. Should register the school should transfer the status of the school as a sole proprietor to what? A company limited by shares. The shares, 99%, I humbly plead with my wife, since we never had children, to give all 100% shares to my son. The man had one son, one daughter, elderly people. She put all the shares in the name of my son, so that he will hold it in trust for the welfare of our family members and our grandchildren. Another provision says, when any member of the family is in dire need, financial need, or even needs to be educated, I plead with you, my wife, to ensure that all these people are what? Assisted. If I died before my 2 sisters, proceeds of the school, there should be a portion given to my sisters. Then there were also arrangements with his personal bank account and all that. Great. Just imagine. Just imagine, my people. Just imagine, beautiful will. Just imagine. We've been going up and down. Up and down. I just want you to think about it, okay? Just to tease your mind about some of these matters. The man is dead as we speak now. All the instructions he gave to the wife are yet to see what? The light of day. She has not done any. Another wish of the man was to see his son as being what? A managing director, or even assisting her, having an office in the school. None has been done. None has been done. So well done to all of us. Great job. So basically, from the Wills Act, today at the end of the lecture, you get to know the definition of a will. If you are called upon to define for us a will, you would confidently share with us what a will means. Then when we talk about will, what are the features? Who can make a will? There are several forms of will. In every will, there are certain basic terminologies that you normally see. When it comes to execution of a will, who qualifies or who has got the capacity to do that? Then we'll talk about witnesses of a will. Who do we avoid as a witness for will purposes? Holograph wills, requirements for illiterate and blind testators. Who even qualify as executors, beneficiaries under the will? If you desire to make changes to your will, issues of what? Alteration. If you decide to even revoke your own will, what are the requirements? Provisions also for dependent and safekeeping of the will. Great job. Next slide. So that is what you should be known. In fact, you have to pay key attention. At the end of the lecture will be assignment. Okay? Well done. Next one. All right, so there are several definitions on every subject matter, but I took my time to just limit the definitions to these two sources. We have B.J. Darocha. I read it verbatim from his book. He says, a will is a declaration of intention by a person of sound mind, very important, and full age, very important, called the testator, concerning how the property he has or to which he will be entitled at the time of his death should be disposed of, and also how other affairs should be managed after his death. Wonderful definition, not so? Very wonderful. The key things we need to note in this definition is about what? The capacity, the mental soundness of the one making the will. Yes, it captures that. And also the age of the person making the will. It's very important. And the fact that it should be a property the one making the will owns, which he captures as what? To which he has, to which he will be entitled at the time of his death. Wonderful. Let's take the Black's Law Dictionary, the legal dictionary. It says the legal expression of an individual's wishes about the disposition of his or her property after death. It is a document. It is a document. Great. With respect to how his estate should be distributed upon death. Next. So that's about the definition. There are several of them we come. But all of it points to the fact that it is always what? The wishes of the dead or the deceased person. The wishes of the deceased. That's it. Now, before I even move on, another wonderful experience of my grandmother was that she died intestate without leaving a will. But before she passed on, she was hospitalized at the time, and at the time she passed on, my mother was standing by her bedside. My mother told me in some few words, and in fact she had been sick, she could not talk, she could not do anything. But some few minutes before she passed away, she said, "Hey B," she called my mother by her name and said, "Hey, I can see A, I can see B, I can see C, X, Y, Z." All those people she was seeing and mentioning were departed ones of the family. Then at the point she said, "Oh, she's about to travel. Being the first daughter, first child, she should always remember to be the mother of the home. No matter what happens between or amongst the family members, including her siblings, bitter or sweet, she should stand firm and hold them as the mother of the home," which my mother shared to me. That was an instruction, isn't it? And she passed away. Wonderful. If you ask me if this is a will, certainly it is not. But you and I know that it is what? Her dying wishes. I would say it is not a will because of the requirements legally as we have in the statute, the Wills Act. We'll get there, okay? These are just to tease your mind. So many things are going on in the minds of people. But since it's not a regular class, you have so many things to think about, to ponder, and see me later in chambers to pay consultation. Great job. Next slide. All right, so as I said, the subject covered under every will is not only limited to what? the distribution of the estate. Take this, take that, do this. No, it is more than that. It says a will is not limited to disposition of property alone. It may deal with other matters like what? Appointment of an executor. Yes. An appointment of an executor. Revocation of a previous will. Giving directions to the burial or cremation, or things that must be done when they pass on, in terms of what the instruction my father gave in respect of where he should even be laid. The type of coffin he should be placed in should not exceed a certain amount. Oh yes, you can find all that in a will sometimes. A will also operates as what? The declaration of intention of the person who is making it. It is always the case. And then a will too could be what? Be made by a person who has validly drawn up a will earlier, and then he says that he will make a statement in the present will that he revokes the earlier one he may have made. You understand that? A person is entitled to make a will. Assuming in 2020 you made a will, but in 2022 for some reasons you wish to make a change, the law allows you to do that. Okay, so in the second will you have to make reference to the first one and say that the present one what cancels the very first one that you made. And every time if somebody experiences such, you have to make take a step and meet a competent lawyer to help you do that. Then a will must also always be in the prescribed form, be in accordance with what the Wills Act provides. If not, upon your death, there will be chaos, and your case will be treated as if you left no will at all. I also have a case like that. You see that? Between a husband and a wife. They, God bless them, they had immovables, properties at good places, Laboni, Cantonment, you can imagine. You can imagine. Then this man had 4 children with his first wife, during wedlock, lawfully married Mrs. Then something happened to this man. He got one son outside. And when this man was making his will, can you imagine? In satisfaction of some of these provisions that we've just heard, that in the will you find not only provisions on devising properties, you will come across somebody who is named as the executor. So in reference to this matter that I'm just sharing with you, the person, the deceased husband, in choosing who should be his executor in his will, decided to make his wife, Mrs., one of the executors. Then the son outside, can you imagine, was made the second executor. For whatever reason, I have no idea. Great. So now the man died. Everything was made known. The will was read. The children who were born by the missus all had it. The executors are your brother outside and your mother. But in that will, everything the man died possessed of, he said, it should be given to my dear wife, his missus. He didn't even take anything to the outside lady. He didn't give her anything. Everything says it should be given to what? My wedded wife, Madam so and so. And her children, absolutely. That is what he said. Wonderful. And her children, absolutely. But you and I know that in law, when we talk about children, even those what outside are legitimate ones, whether Mrs. likes it or not, he's part of them. So if the man says everything that I possess all should be given to my wife and our children, absolutely, the one outside is also part, not so, but the one outside has now been, he has even got power. Executor. The executors indeed do not own the properties, you see, but they have what? A legal responsibility to ensure that the beneficiaries under the said will get their due share. That is their role. So Mrs. whilst in her lifetime, after reading the will, needed to take further steps. When the will is read, it does not necessarily mean that there's done. The name executor. So you don't sit down. You need to take a further action to perform your role as what? An executor. Make sure that the landed properties, the movables and immovables are shared. Then you proceed further to make certain legal documents. We call them vesting assent, to vest the said properties in the name of who? The beneficiaries. Mrs. I don't know whether for illiteracy or ignorance or something, failed to take the needed action in time, and then she died. So now we are left with who as the executor? Can you help me? Oh yes. Oh yes. And the first children of Mrs. are also blessed, have grown and are outside the country. Now the outside child is the one in charge. I was sitting my somewhere, and I was approached with this story. I said, what happened? So many long stuff. So now the whole thing is that it is the outside child. So I have to educate them that no, it is an issue of what legal requirements, implications. Your mother failed to act. If she had acted in her lifetime, certainly she should have ensured that you people get what? The lion's share. She did not do it. So now we have to what? Cooperate with the surviving executor who is also willing to do his work. So that is what we are. I'm representing the other side and cooperating with our brother. He's a nice gentleman. And the properties we are sharing. You see? It's a wonderful place. These are practical stuff, live cases that I bring to bear on our discussion for you to appreciate the extent of the subject. Great. Next one. So the will must always be in the prescribed form as we have under the Wills Act. It's a law class, so let's listen to some wonderful, another legal authority says, Slain versus Slain, 1890. A document was described as a deed, but it was still admitted to probate since it conformed to the essential characteristics of a valid will stipulated by the Wills Act. Good. So when we have a statute created to regulate how things are done in a particular sphere, like in a will, in law, it must be strictly what? Done in accordance with the requirements of the law. Failure to comply fully would render whatever action you take. If you try to mimic the making of a will, it will not pass the test. You see that? So in our Wills Act, we'll get to that point for us to know what are supposed to be included in a valid will. What happened with the case of my grandmother does not qualify. It doesn't. If you write a will, you fail to deposit it in the court, it wouldn't pass the test. If you make a will, you do not have anyone named as an executor, it can't pass the test. You see? Then also, if you do not sign at the bottom of all your instructions, it will not qualify in respect of conforming to the Wills Act of Ghana. It wouldn't pass the test. You see, so we'll get to know all of this. And a will is always revocable. It takes effect upon death. And it said a will is ambulatory. It can affect a property acquired after it has been made. You see that? It can affect a property acquired even after what? It has been made. Because there's always a clause, we call that the residuary clause, which is included. That even as I have named certain properties that I own presently and have made devices thereof, at the time of my death, any other thing I may die possessed of should go to A, B, C, D, or even children yet to be born. Understood? That is what we mean by it. It is what? Ambulatory. Next. Who can make a will? We heard some earlier. Soundness of mind. Very, very important. At the point of making a will, if you were sane, appreciated what you were reducing into writing, oh, certainly you passed the test. But assuming at the time of making the will, you were sane, you passed through, you complied with all the requirements of the will and made a deposit in the High Court, kept one for yourself and all that, and later you were declared to be what? Mentally incapable. That will still what? Be deemed to be valid. Understood? At the point of making the will, the law requires whether you are sane. If it is established you were sane, it is enough. After, if you decide to go mental, that will still what? Be respected and enforced. So in respect of who can make a will, certainly Section 1 of Act 360, today is a law class. Make sure when you go home, you'll be quoting the various sections to support that fact. Section 1 of Act 1 provides who can make a will. It says the person must be somebody what? Of sound mind. Section 1, Clause 2. Subsequent insanity will not invalidate the will made during sanity. Wills made during a lucid period are valid. A will obtained by fraud, duress, undue influence is void. Persons of 18 years and above can qualify to make a will. Then, under the English Act, it was 21 years. But Ghana is what? The whole class? This is a learned class. Wonderful. So, in terms of the ceiling age, there's nothing like that. The minimum threshold is what? 18 years. But even if you are 100, you decide to make one, you are allowed to do so. So far as it can be established that what? You are okay upstairs. Everything is well with you. Great. So that is it. I have another case you need to know. A case of what? Intestacy. Somebody, a big billionaire in Ghana who died intestate without a will. He was married. He left behind just one wife and 4 children, 2 by his surviving spouse and the earlier 2 by his first marriage, first wife, but who left because of divorce. Great. Died intestate. Everything is fine. There was no problem. They lived peacefully during his lifetime. The peace still reigns because there's enough money, enough property. Everybody's okay. But as we speak now, mother-in-law can't rest. She's brought legal action against surviving spouse. That even the letters of administration she possesses was acquired fraudulently. In another breath, she's brought another action against some companies. The deceased son, her deceased son, was running with his dear wife. In fact, after the death of this man, it's as if everything is now in the hands of the surviving spouse, because she used to run the business with her husband. Even their signatories to the account, it was what? Joint account. She doesn't need any legal document to even access. She was accessing, and she's still what? Accessing. Oh yes, she's in control. Mother-in-law is peeved. She's also represented by a lawyer. We meet in court every day. Well done. Great job. Let's go ahead. As for the cases, there are so many. This is a very important topic. I bring them in for you to also wake up and follow it keenly. According to section 2 of our act again, the requirement of the fact that it must be in writing has been provided. The will must be in writing with no specific form. It can be typed with a computer beautifully like lawyers do. You can even do it yourself if even you're not a lawyer. You can make a will. It says it must be in writing. You can type it, pencil, pen, chalk, I don't know, clay. So far as it's something readable, it's written, it's enough. Okay? Any language is also what? Acceptable. But since I was born, so far, it's been English, 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 English. But on one occasion that I saw somebody writing his will in what? Ga, which was interpreted at the court beautifully. But any language, you are permitted. It must be in writing, and it's what? Allowed. Any language is also allowed. It could be pen, pencil, typed, written by a lawyer or a non-lawyer. Any language is also allowed. And for the purposes of the Legal Professions Act, a will is not a legal document, and a non-lawyer is at liberty to prepare one for himself, as I said. I have some friends who are not lawyers, but sometimes they would ask me, I give them the template, do it in your own style, and then go and file it. You see that? Oh yeah. Today you're also going to get the same template. Don't worry, you make one for yourself. Well done. All right, so that is it for the requirement under Section 1 of the Wills Act, who qualifies and how the will should be done in respect of the writing, the language, and the fact that whether you're a lawyer or non-lawyer, you can make a will. Those who made the will, did you do it yourself or somebody did it on your behalf? Yourself? Well done. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, he had a template from a legal friend and he did it. Okay. But after you did it, did you show it to him, or it's supposed to be a secret? Did you show it to the person? Okay. In your case, you did it yourself? You did it yourself? A legal person did it for you. Okay. Wonderful. All right. But you all have copies with you. You kept it secretly? Well done. It's deposited in the court? Okay. The lawyer who did it for you has a copy? In your case, you made 3, deposited 1, kept 1, and the rest is secret. Keep it secret. Sometimes, if somebody chances upon that document and reads, particularly your wife, she reads, you see that? It can lead to problem. That's why I have to keep it what? Very well. So in every will tool, you can find there are certain terminologies. I wanted to share one very important thing with you. He said he made the will himself. In my workplace, I had a friend. She died based on what? Breast cancer. It's a serious matter. And in the period of her illness, I was so close to her. In her last moment, I was with her. She knew I was a lawyer. She knew I made will for people. She was telling me, I have made a will. My will. I have a copy on my computer. There's a password to it. I've written it in my diary. That will was prepared by lawyer so and so. She used to tell me, my named executor is Madam so and so, also at our workplace. She told me. And this is how these are the things that I mentioned in my will. That my vehicle should be given to this. She told me everything about the content of the will. Although I never saw it with my eyes, she told me, she was telling me everything. And she was telling me that although she came into the world by a man and a woman, she has been living her life as an orphan. She struggled too much. Even in her ailment, she was living on loans and benevolence of good people. She said she lived her life as an orphan. So her will, nobody who invested in her to come and make what? Any benefit. So she was telling me all the things she did. Then I said, I'm happy you have a will. So I assumed she had a will. My people, this lady died. Then she died. Even the funeral, it was like nothing was happening. So I deliberately asked family members, did this lady leave behind a will based on the conversation? Then they said they are not aware. So then I went to the said lawyer. I said, my brother, our sister said you made a will for her. Can we get a copy? The family is not aware. Can you approach? Yes. Can you make it known? Then he said, what are you talking about? No, I didn't make a will for her. I only gave her a template to look at and prepare. I said, no, she told me you made a will. Then I called another witness who was there when our friend said, I said, I've approached the lawyer to inquire about our sister's will. He's telling me he never made a will for our sister. Can you also come with me? We went and the lawyer repeated the same thing, that no, he never made a will. It was a template that he gave out. My people, can you imagine? And as we speak now, her case was rendered what? Intestate. It is a serious matter. Now her family had to now fall back. It was a very serious matter. So the named executor could not perform any role. Her will was not perfected. She thought the lawyer had written a will for her. I don't know how they did it. But that is just to share with you, okay? There are procedures. So as we go along, make sure that even if you should make a will, you satisfy. You can even Google the Wills Act. Read it. Make sure you have satisfied some of the things you are hearing today in making your own. If it is a lawyer that is making the will, make sure you do, well, you pay. You make payment to the lawyer. At the end of the day, get a copy Normally, it is put in an envelope and sealed with something like blood, some red something to scare the demons. You see that? Oh, yes. So we are now on the basic terminologies that are used in the will. Lawyers like to scare people. You see that? So some of the words are, you see the word device, devicee, devisor, bequest of a legacy, or bequest or legacy, legatee, executor, trustee, intestate, testator. Today you are learning so much, not so? So we'll talk about device. It denotes a gift of immovable property or real estate. Immovables, landed properties. I devise my house at this address to my dear wife for life, for her lifetime only, and thereafter to our children, to own in equal shares. Anytime you see the word devise, it must necessarily be what? An immovable property or landed property. Devisee denotes a person or object who benefits under a gift of an immovable property in a will. Sometimes you say what? A beneficiary. So a devisee is the same meaning. The devisor certainly is the testator, the one who owns the landed property and is given out. He is a devisor. It's the same as the testator. If you want to scare the hell out of you, we will not say testator for you to understand. We'll say, oh, a devisor. Then you open your eyes wide. Great. Bequest or legacy denotes a gift of what? Movable property made under a will. Legatee is the person who takes the benefit. Legatee is also like a beneficiary. So, legatee, devisee are all who? A beneficiary. Executor is a person, it could be a man or a woman, who is appointed by the testator named in the will to play that role upon their death to ensure that the various devices under the will goes to the named beneficiaries. So the executor is a person appointed by the testator in the will to administer the estate. A testate. Who is a testate? When you hear testate, it means somebody died leaving behind a will. When you hear intestate or intestacy, it means somebody died not leaving behind a will. Then testator is a man, or it could be a woman, who is the one that made the will. Great job. Any questions? None. Contributions? None. Let's go ahead. Great. Conditions or contingent wills. There are different types of will. Mutual wills, conditional wills. We'll not go into details. It's all about wills. You have just the idea. Conditional will, types of wills. Later, when you relax in bed, you can read them and come and mesmerize me in my chamber. You see that? Contingent will, sometimes you see some types of will called joint wills, living wills. Yes? Yes, all are types. One time, I was approached by a certain couple. They were giving me instructions to prepare for them a joint will. A joint will in respect of their joint properties and all that. The instructions were so funny. And I said, so who would die first? I don't understand. So when you die, how would it be? Then I said, okay, let me make it separate wills for each one of you, so that based on how the things that I've seen, you see, it can create unnecessary what? Problems. In your lifetime, your wife would show certain what? Qualities as a very wonderful, sober lady, very obedient, very loving. You die and see. I've just shared one with you. Not so. Oh yes. So this kind of joint and mutual wills, certainly the will will take effect upon the death of one. What happens thereafter? If you make a will, I would advise one man, one dam. You see that? If you want to make a will, what about this mutual and joint and all that? Why? If you are twins, why? You have a beautiful wife, so can't you do your own? If you don't have a landed property, you have personal belongings, don't you have? Oh yes, you have something. You have a wristwatch, you have a Bible, you have shoes. Make your own, leave them alone. To avoid all of these conflicts and disputes that occurs from time to time. We don't have time to be going to court when somebody dies because of property. I'll not even pursue it. Let it be. We want to have our own, not so. But some people love properties left behind by the dead people. Sometimes as if they even killed them. Hey! Recently, I saw a video, I chanced upon a video flying on social media. A very respectable, big man in Ghana. He's not there though. He could see, he was observing proceedings on his sick bed. Observing proceedings. Wonderful. In his lifetime, on his sick bed, as this man cannot even talk. Hey, it is not easy, eh? Don't acquire too many wealth. It's an unnecessary temptation. If you're a modest person, it is better. If you die possessed of almost everything in the world, these are the things that will come. Even in your lifetime, you are not gone yet, they'll be fighting. When you die, their heart is not with you. It's the benefit thereafter. They will finish you to make sure they get over the property. Let's do everything in moderation. Wonderful class. Let's go ahead. So that is it, basically, about wills. Attestation. So for every will, after all of the things that you die possessed, normally if you want to make a will, first of all, you should decide who will be your executor, who would have your interest at heart to stand firmly and ensure that everything you die possess will end up in the hands of the named beneficiary. You see that? Find good people, trustworthy persons who can stand after you are dead and gone to ensure that there is order in respect of the sharing of your movables and immovables. The executors normally, in practice, I see one, I see two, but they could be up to four. The act allows up to four, but in practice, I see one, I see two, so that when one dies, at least you have another one. There should be persons who can be traced. Don't use names of persons who are in other jurisdictions. When you call them, when they are called, when you are gone, they will never come. Use people who will be available, who can be traced. You see that? Sometimes when the wills are read in the courtroom, the names of the executors are so strange that family members wonder where to even what? Get the people. So when you're thinking of having a will, the executors, look at trustworthy persons and persons who also do not smell like they are going to live today or tomorrow. Do you understand the language? Now you can't even predict. Younger ones are also going. It's not easy. If you are, let's say, 14 years, and then, no, 14 is not bad. Let me use age of majority. If you are 30 years, you decide to have a will, and then you name somebody who is 60 years as your executor. Is something okay over here? You see that? Great. So the law says that if we're looking for who qualifies to be an executor, those qualities: integrity, trustworthy, persons who are sane, matured, and not likely to take the exit before you do. That's a brilliant class. I know you understand the language. Yes. At least one or two is enough. When you take many people, too many fishes in the soup, what? Spoils the whole show. But some people said, they like more flavor. Okay. It's a matter of discretion, but out at least one or two is enough. But some people want a lot of people. Why? So that is it. Then also another thing you need to think about is witnesses. The law says at least two witnesses are enough. Whether executor, whether a witness, they must all not be what? Under 18 years. They must be adults. persons who are intelligent enough to appreciate what they're doing. If somebody is signing as a witness, it doesn't mean you should tell them what is in the will. You see that? It should be kept a secret. But they know it's a will, but they wouldn't know the content. Then they will sign for you. The law also says it should be simultaneous. As you sign, you call them to also sign their portions. But you all know sometimes it's just impracticable. You know that. It's the law that is saying that too. But in practice, my people do their will. You give it to them. Then they find whoever to help them. Then they bring it back. Then we perfect it. But the law says it should be what? At the same time. Well done to all of us. Then the signature of the testator must always what? Appear at the end of the whole provisions. At the end. A will normally contains what? The residual clause to the effect that if you die possessed of any property which is not named in the said will, that property should also what? Go to A, B, C, D. It's interesting also, when you listen to what I've said so far, it's as if we all have control over our will. That is the case. If you die possessed of any property, you can decide who to give to. But in the wisdom of the framers of this law, which I think is great, they included a certain provision for reasonable provision to be made for any dependent of a testator who may have deliberately or accidentally left out. You see that? Particularly the surviving parent of the testator or a child of the testator under 18 years who was left without any form of provision. And as a result, they are encountering substantial hardship. It is not easy. It happens all the time. I don't know whether at the time those people were making the will, they are rich people. Sometimes very rich people do that. They give everything out and leave their own parent. They give everything out and leave their children. And at the end of the day, when the will is read in the courts, that is when hell breaks loose. You see them crying in tears, cursing and all that. So when when this occurs, normally the affected persons, the children of the testator under 18 years, the surviving parent of the testator, who are going through substantial difficulties in life because they were not catered for under this will, are required to take some legal steps for the court's intervention. And the law says they need to act what? Timeously. And in the wisdom of the court will give some orders which will bring relief to said groups of persons. You see that? But assuming even the testator had some other children who are above 18 years, they cannot approach the court. The law says, so far as the person is under 18 years or is a surviving spouse of the testator going through substantial hardship, they can take steps to approach the court for what? A reasonable provision to be made to cater for their needs. So basically, this is what you need to know about wills, okay? Any questions? None? Contributions? Yes. Yes. You take the mic and then speak to that. We have 2 hands. Questions? Contributions? 2 hands. All right. We'll take the 2. All right. So we'll take the question and then the 2 contributions. You can take mine.
My name is Farouk Nuhu Bila. I'm into one of my core businesses, vital record storage. So we do this confidential wills for our clients. In 2012, I prepared a will for an old man who had stayed in the United States as an accountant. After we prepared the will. The will was deposited at the High Court. Then 2 years later, he came to me that he wants to withdraw the will. So it was revoked, and then we readjusted the will and then took it back. The man is still growing. Then along the line, 3 years ago, he came back that he wanted to adjust the will again. We did the same thing. Now he's about 87. This man looks, he forgot things now, and he has a spouse. The woman has been married to that old man almost 15 years now. My difficulty is they have started fighting since he has other kids, children in the United States. Some of them have been able to ask the man to sign some, forge the power of attorney. And being a consultant who perfected the will, I don't want the family to know that there is something of that nature, because I know the wife and then I know the children too now. And the executors are all not in this jurisdiction. So recently, the man wasn't well, and I had letters indicating that the second eldest daughter has been taking all the man's social security in America. This is about $5,000 every month. This woman is taking the money. Exactly. So I asked the woman that what you need to do is, I think, institute some action at the High Court. Then the matter went to the Kaswa District Court. We went to the bank because the money is being transferred in the bank. It always, they wire the money through Absa Bank. So we went to Absa Bank and find out if there is any attorney like that made by the man. The man said once a while, no, he's not dead yet. So the man once a while, the thing comes and then he can see clear that this is good, this is not this one, this is not this one. So the man is saying that he's not signed anything. I don't also want them to understand that, look, even this man has done this and this and this and that, and he's going to help all of you. I can't say it. I don't want to say it, and the woman might do something to the husband. I don't also want the children to also understand that, look, there's so much for all of you. This is how I find myself. Yes. Yes. So now they are in court. And when we filed the writ, what we did was that the writ could be placed at the ADR, because we're looking at, yes, I was madam, I was looking at a situation where the man has children. They are his biological children, 4 children, and then a spouse. The spouse hasn't got a child with the man, but it's the woman who is taking care of the man now. She's living with him, and these children, the first one, is also siphoning monies that has been instructed in the will. Okay, thank you. The matter went to court, and in the application that was filed, in the writ that was filed, in the statement of claim, it was stated categorically that since they are family members, the case should be settled under the ADR. So the judge made an order that the case should go to the ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution, for settlement. And that is where they are now. It's still pending. Still pending. So I will crave the indulgence of everybody here that I have been doing wills, and I've had the opportunity to be an administrator of the court 20 years. But now you said that they come and then cry. They don't cry. They cry, but we see fights. Yes, fight, proper fight. Proper fight. As I'm speaking now, let me say it boldly here. Justice Chumba died. One of Justice Chumba's son, I happen to see the will, has forged the man's will. It's been to CJ as we are speaking now. Yes. 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 It's a lawyer's son. The man is a former Supreme Court judge, and he died recently. And we happen to see a will that is emanating from the man, and we know the signatures of the man. If you look at the judgments he gave at the Supreme Court, the signatures aren't the same. And this was done by his first son. Yes.
You see that? But in their lifetime, they may have made several signatures. I cannot tell. I'm not really saying that it is a good case or it's not a fraudulent case as you are suggesting. But real things do happen. Sometimes people in their lifetime, when they are well, are able to sign their own documents and all that. Everybody can tell their signatures and all that. But at the point in time when they decide to make a will, maybe they are so weak and frail. When they sign, it may not look the same as their earlier signatures. Or probably at the time he was making the will, he was even assisted to tamper it, or he made the will and even requested somebody to sign on their behalf.
Yes.
All this is allowed under the Act.
Yes.
I didn't mention.
Yes.
So maybe, I don't know.
My lady.
But when these things happen, certainly it creates suspicion.
Yes.
It creates suspicion. So in court,
yes. 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 Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Please, I want to be educated. I know that wills are normally executed after the deceased has been buried. If that is it, if it happens that the person wants to be cremated, yes, after the deceased has been buried, after death. Oh, okay. Because I was wondering if the person wants to be cremated and then it's in the will, how will the family get to know that the person wants to be cremated?
in their lifetime, they'll tell you. As for me, when I'm dead and gone, this is the way. This is my bottle. This is my bottle. This is how you go. They say it. They repeatedly say it to their loved ones. Whether you like it or not, this is how I want to go. I remember some time, my father came to do this, came to scare us with that thing. He said, Kwa, in future when I'm gone, you people, you must follow the cremation style. Look at the Wudome Cemetery. See how they are behaving over there. The place is all unkempt. When you're buried, they take you out, somebody's put in and all that. I don't want to go through this. As for me, I'm a chief, so certainly take me to the village where I'll lie peacefully. But to avoid all of this stress, why don't you just cremate me? You collect. I'm saying, Nana, it's too painful. He said, no. If I'm cremated at the time, I'm dead. I won't feel it. I said, no. It is not our culture. We can't take it. That one belongs to the Hindus and the Asians. But we're happy when he gave his instructions in respect of how it should be done. He took it out because he listened to us. You see that? So our sister's question in respect of not knowing that fact of cremation in there. It is not a secret. Normally it is made known. But assuming it is not made known and the person is buried and later it is made known, can't you still do it? We are all thinking around. A will is supposed to be given is somebody's what? Wishes. Death wishes to be carried out. You are supposed to carry everything out. So the role is read after he's buried. You get to know that the man preferred to be cremated. What will you do as a family? Can anybody help? You have to go get an order of the court for exhumation of the body to give effect to his wishes. You are smiling, my sister. Why? Huh? Because as a family, you think it's against the culture, and so for that one, you not respect. No, it must be respected. That is how he wants to go. He wants it to be done. I don't know. But since the disease cannot come and fight, most times, even when they state it in their will, families choose to do the other thing. You see? But then, if you don't fear ghosts, you will see them in your dreams. This is just on the other side, you see, on a lighter note. But if somebody indicates how his funeral should be carried out, everything should be done, including cremation, in law, it should be what? Respected, without questioning. That is all. If family buries the person and later they get to know that he desired to be cremated, it must be done for the said fellow. That is all. You see, when you give them a befitting burial, as they instructed, you will receive what? Blessings. You will receive it. It happens all the time. Now we are veering off into the realm of spirits. Wonderful class. Any other question, contribution? Do you have a pastor in the class to confirm? Oh, sorry, sir. I will come to you. There's a question.
It's not a question, but a contribution of some sort. We have a precedent in Ghana which says that the dead body, the corpse, belongs to the family. So most of the time, people indicate their wishes, their desires before they die. But you find families vehemently opposing it when it doesn't suit them, in quotes, and then insisting to have their way. Sometimes people even indicate where they want to be buried, their town, and then they come and say, no, we are sending you here. So sometimes it makes mockery of the desires of the deceased in the will, and sometimes it becomes very difficult. So normally what we would counsel people is try and lobby with some of your family members, especially the heads of families and the elders in the family. If you're able to lobby to let them know your desire when you have departed, it makes it easier for them to convince the others to follow that pattern. But even if that is in the will and they decide that they are going to take their stand, sometimes, unfortunately, you don't have the will of the deceased being carried out. Thank you.
As family head, you do not have any right of ownership over any family property. You see that? They are not above the law, including even dictating how the testator should be what? Buried. When there's a will with instructions written in black and white as to what the deceased sought to do. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. But indeed, we agree with our sister that we have a culture. When somebody dies, we all know that what? The disease, the corpse belongs to what? Their family. Nobody struggles. I'll share my own personal. Some of these matters will come up upon the death of our dad. But as children, we were not ready for any stress. You see that? When it comes to money, nobody is ready to what? Bail the cat. So we're just watching. They said the funeral, they want it at this village, they want it there. We're also in Accra. We said, oh, no problem. Wherever they want it, it can happen there. Even the body, if they want, we will give it to them. As our father, all we need is his photo. It is his heart, he's gone. He was a very simple man. So if he wants to have the body, take it there. I say, oh, you are free to go. We'll give you money to do it. Meanwhile, we'll also do our own in Accra. That's all. So at the end of the day, you see that they couldn't fight much. Whatever they say, we said, okay. Whatever they said, we said, okay. At the end of the day, it was so beautiful. Some did this, village A, village B, village C. It's a wonderful Ghana, not so? Oh yes, you don't need to fight. Whatever they want to do, just let them have their peace. You could still carry out his wishes in your own way, even as a spouse. They can have the body and do what they want to do. Give them money if there is money. Do what you also want to do as you want to do to give him a benefit. That's all. So that we can have peace of mind. Any other contribution, comment?
Okay. In contribution to what our lady said, we had a family funeral where the deceased said she wants so and so to be done, and in a will she wrote it, and the executors of the will, the family heads and the one assisting the family head, they all died before the person. So when it came up, they said the family said no, the new head said no, and all that. Then when they had a family gathering, one of the children said, "You that you are saying no, you to your mother is alive. When he gets your turn, we also see what." Retaliation. Then they all agreed, because all those saying no said okay. Then when it came to the barrier, the woman has stated this and this, and they said, the family said, no, it was during the COVID, and they said, oh, let's bury this woman. So after the COVID, we'll have a funeral. The family said, oh, Papa, onye pete na akotuno egubola. So they waited, and no family member was willing to contribute, and all this became the burden of the children.
That is always the case.
Yes. So with this, can the laws of the country be amended? Because if the person has stated this in the will and the family is stating otherwise, although the body belongs to them, can't the children of the deceased also have a say in this?
If you have the time, the energy and money, family, you can always get assistance from the court. The wishes of the testator must be respected in every way. So if you have a family head trying to throw his weight about doing something contrary to the wishes, you can take them on in court. But most of the time, people don't want to really fight. You see, fight the family head and they let it be. But you can really approach the court for their assistance and it to be carried out. In the case of that friend of mine who said she lived as an orphan, she also said upon her death, she told me that all her family, her funeral arrangement should be done at a place at West Legon. I've forgotten the name. That beautiful place there. Transition. Can you imagine? She had investment which could allow everything of hers to be done there. They took her to and she told me that their family house was not in a good area, somewhere Dakuma inside there. She didn't want to go there because she lived as an orphan, as if she had no family. So she wants everything done differently, which she had stated in the said will she believed a lawyer made for her. All this came to nothing. She ended up in that family house she never wanted to be laid. There was no will. Her will was not the perfect one. Any other comment, contribution? Last one, all right?
Please, I wanted to find out this. Can will be done orally? The reason is this. When you go to a lot of the rural areas where they don't have access to lawyers, sometimes they just make the will orally, and then after the person is passed, you see family members or family heads meeting to actually talk about what the person said before dying. And sometimes it works. The properties are shared based on what the person said. So I'm asking this to just get to know that will can be done orally. And then the other aspect too is...
So this question is a question to all of us. I will need the answer from you. You tell me. Yes? Thank you for giving us a wonderful assignment right now. But that one is not for me. It's for your colleagues to help me answer. Yes, my brother? Yes. Oh, no, the second question. I think we're adding.
Okay, so the other one got to do with people who do not actually involve lawyers, but just write the will and then signs. Can that also be used as a will? In times that the person is no more.
Wonderful.
So these are the two questions.
So our brother has really summed everything up in the form of two questions, solid one for you people. So now group one, first three rows and those behind group two. Group 1, your question is the very first one. In the village, there's no lawyer. We have the disease always given what? Oral instructions, not conforming to the Wills Act of Ghana, as you just heard. That is your question. You give me a feedback. That's group 1. First 3 rows, we need the answer. Then the second question was which one again? My brother? Can you repeat that one again?
Got to do with people who just prepare the will, write the will, signs without involvement of lawyers.
Self-made will.
Yes.
Wills made by non-lawyers.
But they do not involve lawyers.
Yes.
So just wanted to know whether it
so that one, that question is for the people in your territory. Those in front and those behind will answer. All right. Let me give the mic to the first 3 rows. If you're ready, your rapporteur. Let's hear you. Our brother in black wants to build them up. Yeah. Let's listen to the answer.
His first question was the oral.
In the village, there's no lawyer.
In the village,
they give oral instructions and it's carried out.
The Wills Act, if you look at Crab and Crab, the BCRA Crab, the Wills Act did not talk about that. And I feel
we don't know. Say it. Tell.
What I would like to say is that it's better you execute your will or prepare a will by writing. He said it here. Then you ask somebody to witness it. Then they executors.
How many people witness it?
2, at least 2.
Then the executors.
2. You can get 2 executors. But I've seen, let me say it. I've seen estate of Bachimatres. Estate of Bachimatres. The estate of Bachimatres, the trustees. I've seen a will of
one estate,
a very big estate in this country, and it's more than they are all bishops. We are talking of about 6 bishops.
Bishops?
Yes.
Okay.
That bishops. They are about 6, and that's the first time I've come across a will that has been witnessed by more than 6.
Oh no, that's too much. That's too much.
But madam, under the Wills Act, have they made any provision that the will must be signed not more than 2 people?
At least 2 from practice.
Yes.
From practice.
Yes.
That's the standard. Yes. 2. Some people always want so many fishes in the soup, as I said. To do what? 2 is more than enough.
But madam, what I've also observed is, please, when they prepare,
so our brother has answered the question.
What
he says, just a minute. Now you are moving to another level. That is your own contribution or opinion or whatever. But I just want to say that the assignment, the answer to the question has already been taken care of. So his response to the first question, that what happens to those who give oral instructions in remote areas where there are no lawyers, does it qualify as a will? He's saying that no, it doesn't qualify as a will, insofar as it does not conform to the requirements we just learned today under the Wills Act. The fact that it must be in writing, must have some named executors to a maximum of 4 or less, but not 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then also having witnesses and also signed. If it doesn't meet this requirement, it cannot pass. And the fact that it must also be deposited in the court. So if there's anything short of that, like people in the village giving oral instructions to elders to carry out, we can't call it a will. Maybe we'll call it what? At best, their death wishes. That's all. And that is also not binding on those people who were around at the time. It's not binding on them. They may decide to carry it out or just leave it as it is. But people fear death. They fear ghosts so much in the village. So they always give respect to such wishes and carry it out. But it doesn't have the force of law. They are just doing it out of their own volition. So this is another part. So group 1, great job. He even mentioned a legal case, Crab and Crab. All of you qualify yourselves a trip to Dubai after class.
Madam, but there is an attestation with Ghana Army
Say it again.
Attestation.
Okay.
In the form of their nature of their jobs and that kind of thing. When you are traveling to any peacekeeping or whatever, there is in the form of a will you have to sign.
When you're traveling to where?
Where keep
The military. Oh,
yes.
okay, yes, yeah, military men. Oh, yes.
It's an attestation
Okay.
that is being, it's binding.
Yes.
They have made it that in the military, and you have spouse and then children under 18, they will take care of them till they finish school and done. But public service.
It is backed by law.
Yes.
So if you want to enjoy some, go and wear the uniform. You see, but for people like that who fear death through the barrel of a gun, would like to remain what public servants and enjoy our little
Madam, High
rewards.
Court
That's
has made it possible that if your will is not waxed with the cocoa sealed, they won't accept it.
Yes,
and
I
that is
mentioned
very
it.
good.
It's
But-
normally placed in the brown envelope.
Yes.
With the red tin all to put the fear of God in
Yes.
people who see it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So what I want people, my contribution is that when you have one, the original will, the counterfoil will be written. When it goes to the High Court, the first and second one, it will be received, and then the first one is the original one with the seal. The second one too must be sealed and waxed with the cocoa seal. Then the third one. But some people, they do the will, then they will just wax the old one, the one that is coming to the High Court. So now High Court has stopped doing that. The one who is depositing the will, you have to bring a picture.
Oh yes.
You have
Because of the fraudulent
issues
coming
nature.
up. Yes. The testator's picture must be brought.
Yes.
Even
And
the
then
one
you
depositing.
yourself.
Yes, the one depositing now is also required to furnish all details about him, including even his ID. So that when there's any matter alleged issues of fraud and all that, they can be traced and brought into the picture.
And Madam,
so many things are happening.
My life's contribution is that sometimes, if you don't know that the person is diseased, the disease has left a will, you could file a search at the High Court, either Kumasi High Court, Accra.
So group 2 appears to be ready, but my brother has so much. You know what we'll do? You see me in chambers with consultation fees. So we can have some more discussions. Oh yeah, he speaks like a lawyer too. I admire you greatly. Do you have any legal training? Oh, I can see that. Everybody can see it. But I'm the lawyer, he's not. You see that? Great, yeah. So you are paralegal. All right. We'll work hand in hand. But I'm the lawyer. Not so? Confirmation. Wonderful. All right. Let's take the answer for group 2.
Yes, for my brother's question. I believe that once it's in the law that an individual can do the will, you can. But most of the time, if you are not a lawyer, you don't know the technicalities. So it's better to consult a lawyer. But once it's allowed, you can do it. That's what I want to say.
Wonderful. Yes, another hand. So group 2 have 2 different people addressing their question.
Yeah, just to add to what my sister said, anybody can prepare a will, but you must prepare it in accordance with what the Wills Act says. And one thing that is very important is execution. How you execute the will, how the person making the will, the testator, signs the will, matters a lot. And if you don't follow the requirements under the Wills Act, the will can be declared void and invalid.
Oh, yes.
So execution is very important. The testator must be there, signed in the presence of his 2 witnesses, when both of them are there at the same time when he is executing it. It can't be that one person will come and then sign or witness the testator sign, and then later another person will come and then also sign.
Wonderful.
So it is very important. And just like she said, technicalities, a comma, a full stop put in the wrong place can change the face of the will. The will comes into effect only after the testator has died. So it is important that it is written in such a way that anybody picking it up can see and interpret it as the testator intended. And so we always advise that since the lawyer has been trained to do that, why don't you go and see a lawyer?
They don't want to pay money, my sister.
But in fact, the unfortunate thing is that
they are starving us. Tell them to come.
They create the impression in the courts that, hey, the lawyers don't charge you so much. But you find court clerks and others taking up wills and doing it the wrong way and charging far more than a qualified lawyer would do it. So please, seek the services of a lawyer to be on the safe side.
Tell them again.
Seek the services of a lawyer to be on the safe side. Thank you.
Wonderful. I've enjoyed both answers. You've all qualified yourself. Free ticket to these people who go to Dubai. Where do you want to go? They want to go where? Qatar. Very well. So the protocol team will take up that matter. And after class, please see the man in yellow right at the back of the class for your tickets. Thank you very much. In the absence of any further questions, I take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Queen. We are grateful. Indeed, we've been enlightened. The session has been very impactful, very educative, hasn't it? It has. And I guess people will still want another round of this particular session because there is still more to learn. Let's give it up for Mrs. Queen. At this juncture, we would take the closing remarks from our chairperson for today's occasion. Right after that, we would take the closing prayer. We'll have a group photograph and we'll have our refreshment. Very soon, we will be out of here. Let's invite our chairperson in the person of Mr. Bernard Alando. Let's give it up for him.
Thank you very much. I can see we're enjoying ourselves so well that I'm sure if we allow the rest of the day, we would like to have Lawyer Queen with us throughout. Indeed, it's never easy stopping to listen to her. She's so inspiring. She knows her work, and when she takes up the stage, you can only admire her. So let's put it up once again for Lawyer. Yes, even before I make my closing remarks. Yeah. So maybe after the closing remarks, you can see her, and I'm sure at the corner, you might have to see to it that you receive a new voice, and then she'll give you all that you need. I think you all agree with me that we've enjoyed ourselves today in this year's professional year opening. The sessions have been so engaging, very revealing, and I think that looking at the atmosphere right now, none of us have regretted being here today, especially those online as well. I've been looking at the numbers and it's been consistent, and that is very great. I think the sessions started quite well. We had the CEO coming to give us an exposition on the theme. And indeed, if you remember the theme, development administration, which we are looking at this year, development administration, an instrument for achieving sustainable growth and development. And so the CEO has given us a very good exposition. In his exposition, I noted that he touched on quite a number of areas that we need as administrators to take note of, and indeed ensure that we go along within those standards to improve the work that we do, how we do it, and how we can contribute to the development, the growth of the organizations that we lead, the growth of the nation that we live in, and wherever we find ourselves. Indeed, he didn't end there. He also touched on some of the mandatory programs along the year that we are supposed to take part in. He talked about the license revalidation, which is coming out along the year, that we as administrators, professional administrators, need to ensure that our certificates are valid. We need to continue that lifelong learning. And so we need to take part in the training and then have our certificates revalidated so that we can be in good standing. He talked about some targets the institutes have in the year. He talked about ensuring that the branches are strengthened. You know, I know there's a lot of work ongoing regards to branch, reactivation and strengthening. And he talked about ensuring that we have stronger branches by the end of the year. He talked about ethical discipline. Members ensuring that we behave and act according to the ethics of CIAMC. That as professionals, we don't just act, but we act in conformity with what is required of us and ensure that we do not fall foul with the professional ethics that we uphold. He talked about achievement of the charter this year, and we are all hoping that we will all play our part to ensure that this is achieved. Indeed, the board chairman at the inauguration last year didn't mince words. He said that this board must not be dissolved until we achieve the professional charter. And I believe that his words are so strong and powerful that we all, I remember, applauded to it. And that means that we all have the responsibility to support and appearing in the commitment of the CEO this year that it is one of the targets, even if we don't get that announcement from Parliament that we have been given the charter, but we should have pushed it to a stage, as the CEO said, that we can stand chest up and or we can stand head high and beat our chest and say that yes, this certificate that I have, there's no doubt about it. Indeed, by the end of this year, let's all support to achieve that. Of course, he talked about the completion of the management village. Again, another requirement, very, very important and very dear to the heart of not only management, but the board of CIAMC. We all need to play a part. In fact, I felt very disheartened when the finance officer showed the statistics of how many people have paid their subscriptions, membership subscriptions for this year, and the levies. The numbers are woefully